In this video, we will discuss the details of supervision. The contents include meaning of supervision, definition, significance, roles and functions of a supervisor, span of supervision, principles of supervision, techniques, factors, levels and problems arising from different levels of supervision. First about meaning. The word supervision originated from the Latin word which means super and vision. Super means from above and vision means to see. In ordinary sense of the term, supervision means overseeing the activities of others. It arises from the Latin word super and vision. Super means from above, vision to see. So the term meaning is overseeing the activities of others. Coming to the definition according to Wikiates, supervision refers to the direct and immediate guidance and control of subordinate in the performance of their task. Supervision is nothing but direct and immediate guidance and control of subordinates so that they are able to perform their task in a better way. Coming to objectives of supervision. First one, help the staff or workers to do their job skillfully and effectively. Second, help the staff develop individual capacity. Third, guide or assist the staff members in meeting predetermined work objectives or targets. Fourth one, help to promote the effectiveness of subordinate or staff performance. Fifth one, help to motivate the subordinate to maintain high job morale. Next, help the members of the team to recognize problem, identify solution and to take action. Help develop team spirit and promote teamwork. And lastly, help to improve the attitudes of the members. About the significance of supervision in nursing. First one, it is significant or it is important because it issues orders and instruction. Supervision is a method to give order and instruction to the subordinate in a proper way, or it is the way of guiding the subordinate or instructing the subordinate about the proper method of doing a job. Hence, it is required. Second significance, planning and organizing the work. The superior or the supervisor act as a planner and act as a guide for his subordinate. So, it is needed for planning and organizing the work. Third, it is important at all levels. Supervision means overseeing and watching the subordinate. There are subordinate at the top, middle and lower level. So it is important at all levels. Fourth, supervisor is the vital link between workers and management. Then supervisor communicates the policies of the management to the workers, that is downward communication, and he also provides feedback to the management from the side of the workers, that is upward communication. So he acts as a link or connector between the top level management and the workers. Fifth important point, motivate a subordinate. Supervisor serves as a friend, philosopher and guide to the workers in motivating them in performing the job effectively. Next, supervisor provides feedback to the workers as and when necessary. Then supervisor helps in the proper assignment of the work. And finally, a supervisor makes systematic arrangement of activities and resources for the group. These are the 8 reasons why supervision is significant in any profession. Coming to 16 functions of supervisor. First one, help his or her workers to develop their innate qualities to improve their performance. Second, help the workers or subordinate to adjust to their job requirements. Third, make the workers loyal towards their organization. Fourth one, provide expertise, skills, knowledge and experience to make the workers learn without fear and hesitation. Fifth, encourage free communication among the workers and with the management. Sixth, develop employee potential to extent where they need no supervision at all. Seventh, cooperate with the other supervisors. Eighth, provide a link between management and the workers as we have seen already in the significance. 9. Solve personal problems as and when arises. 10. Maintain discipline among the workforce. 11. Correct the mistakes of subordinate or workforce under him or her. 12. Explore new fields of knowledge related to task performance of employees. 13. Introduce new, useful and scientific methods of production and administration. 14. Have a clear understanding about his or her plan of action. 15. Know his or her job, duties, responsibilities, authority and accountability and so on. 16. Divide responsibilities and duties to his or her subordinate rationally and scientifically. 17. Listen and look into the grievance of his subordinate. And the 18, that the last function, delegate authority and win their confidence. In short, we can summarize the role or functions of supervision or supervisor into 5 subheadings: administrative role or function, teaching role, helping function, linking function, and evaluating function. The previous 18 functions can be organized under these 5 headings. Next, we will see about requisite qualities for effective supervision or effective supervisor. They are tact and discretion, social skill, technical competence, empathy, honesty, courage, self-confidence, communication skills, teaching and guiding ability, and the 10th one, strong common sense. About the meaning of span of supervision and control. It simply means the number of subordinates a supervisor can competently direct, guide, and control. So the number of subordinate or workers under a superior is called the span of supervision or span of control. Coming to kinds of span of supervision or simply kinds of supervision. In fact, we can say selection of ideal span of control and wide span of supervision is a difficult task. But we can classify the supervision or span of supervision into number 1, functional supervision. It simply means, or it is simply based on the assumption that a worker cannot deal with all technical problems which comes up in today's work. Also, functional supervision means supervise the function or the task or the activities performed by a subordinate or a worker. That is functional supervision. Supervision of the task performed by a subordinate. Next, line and staff supervision. Here, one supervisor is responsible or charge of only a particular group of subordinate. Then next type is supervision in tall and narrow structure. Here there is too many links or too many supervisors supervising a group of subordinate. That is tall and narrow structure. There will be multiple link or chain of authority. Next, supervision flat top structure. In this organization, there will be a top manager, and in the top manager or in the under the top manager there will be a number of assistants or deputies. Each of them will look after a particular activity or a particular department or a group of workers. So that is flat top organization. There will be a single manager, under him there will be a number of assistants, and each assistant will be supervising a particular activity, a department or simply a group of workers. Here we will see the important principles of supervision. Number 1, supervision should encourage self-expression so as to draw out potential abilities of a worker. Supervision should be done in such a way that the potential abilities of a worker should be drawn out automatically, or they should be given opportunities for self-expression of their abilities. Next, supervision should provide initiative to individual to take more responsibility. So the principle of initiativeness. This is the principle of self-expression. Next, supervision should provide full opportunity to do work in cooperation to develop team spirit and develop good interpersonal relationship. Next principle is principle of team spirit. That is, provide full opportunity to do work in a cooperation to develop team spirit. The next is principle of autonomy. It means supervision should give autonomy to the workers depending from their personality, competence, and characteristics. Next, clarity of instruction. Supervision interpret policies and give clear instruction to the workers. Sixth principle is related to principle of individual needs. Supervision should be based to meet individual needs or requirements of worker. It means every supervisor should change according to the needs of the individual or subordinate under him. 7. Supervisor should always think herself as a leader so as to give guidance and help and encouragement. That is the principle of leadership. Supervisor should think herself or himself as a leader to provide enough guidance and encouragement. Next, principle of democracy. That is, supervision should be democratic. It means the viewpoint of the subordinate also needs to be considered in decision making. Ninth one, supervision should be well planned and adapted to good planning. That is principle of planning. It calls for good planning and organization. And the last 10th one, good supervision respect the personality of the individual. That is principle of respect. Every employee or subordinate needs to be respected as a human being. These are the 10 important principles of supervision. Coming to various techniques or methods of supervision. The techniques are based on 3 stages. Stage 1, Stage 2 and Stage 3. In Stage 1, there is preparation for supervision. Stage 2, actual supervisory method or actual process of supervision. And Stage 3, follow-up of supervision that is already performed. In Stage 1, that is preparation for supervision, the supervisor will study the documents or policy or other necessary materials related to conduct effective supervision. Then identify priority for supervision or identify the important area where an employee needs to be supervised. And finally, prepare a supervision schedule based on the number of workers. These are the preparatory phase for supervision. That is stage 1. In stage 2, that is actual process of supervision or conducting supervision. Here the supervisor will establish contact with the subordinate. He will review the objectives, target and norms related to the job. He will review the job description and observe the nursing staff or other subordinate performance and motivate them, and also observe for any actual or potential conflicts or problems. In stage 3, that is in the follow-up phase, the supervisor will reorganize the time. That is, he will reorganize or restructure the timetable, work plan or duty roster. He may organize in-service education program based on the needs identified during stage 2. Then initiate changes. Then initiate action for organizing staff welfare activities. And also he will organize session for counseling and guidance related to career development and professional growth. These are the activities that is done in the follow-up phase of supervision. Then during these phases, the supervisor can use either of the 6 follow mentioned techniques. First technique is democratic or consultative technique. The first technique the supervisor can use is called democratic or consultative technique. This technique is based on democratic principles of supervision or leadership. Under this technique, the advice of the workers are taken into consideration on all matters related to their performance. Advice or suggestion by employees are taken into consideration in decision making. That is the simplest meaning of democratic or consultative technique. Then the second technique that a supervisor can use in certain situations is the autocratic technique. According to this, all rights are centered in the supervisor and the subordinate are supposed to strongly obey the orders issued by the supervisor. The supervisor has full control over his subordinate. Their suggestions are not taken into consideration or their suggestions are not given due importance in autocratic technique. The third technique that a supervisor can use is called a free rein technique. It is also called laissez-faire technique or policy. It is just opposite of autocratic technique, where the supervisor gives complete freedom to the workers. In autocratic technique, there is complete control on the subordinate by the supervisor. But in free rein technique, there is complete freedom to the workers. Then, but the freedom is given by the supervisor after seeing the abilities of the workers. Not all workers are given complete freedom. That is the free rein technique or laissez-faire technique. Then, fourth technique is technical or creative supervision, or we can say technical versus creative supervision. In technical supervision, the work of the subordinate is thoroughly reviewed and checked as per rules by the supervisor. But in creative supervision, some sort of independence is given to the workers to perform their job in a creative way, or something new is available or readily made by the workers, or the freedom to make something new is given to the workers by the supervisor in creative supervision. So the supervisor can use technical or creative supervision depending on the situation. The next technique is scientific versus intuitive supervision. In scientific supervision, the supervisor or the superior uses only scientific or systematic methods to supervise the workers, or it is strictly bound to scientific methods. But in intuitive supervision, the superior uses his or her own feeling to be true even without conscious reasoning. That is instinctive. Whatever the supervisor thinks as true can be applied when he supervises the workers. In intuitive supervision, in scientific supervision, only clearly proved techniques or tools or methods are utilized in supervising the subordinate. That is difference between scientific and intuitive supervision. Next method or technique is task-centered. That is functional supervision, as we have seen already. Next, employee-centered supervision. Not the task, but the employee is centered on the supervisor. Next, benevolent supervisor. Then, in short, according to Likert, we can say there is no one best way to supervise. Supervisory practices are effective in situation, may not be effective in other situation, or practices that are used by some supervisors may not give satisfactory result to others in other situations. So depending on the situation, the supervisor has to use different types of these 7 techniques. Coming to various tools that can be used by a superior to supervise the employees. These are group conference, individual conference, anecdotal records, assistance with bedside care, supervision of nursing procedure, checklist, rating scale, nursing rounds, and nursing reports. About each of this one we have seen in earlier videos in detail. These are some of the tools that can be used by a supervisor in making supervision. Now we will see some of the important factors that can be taken into consideration while supervising the employees. Factor number 1, human relation skill. This skill includes the ability to guide the workforce, the ability to inspect or teach the workforce, and inspire them for better performance. Second is technical or managerial knowledge. The guidance and instructions are largely based on technical knowledge and the managerial acumen of the supervisor. These help the supervisor in serving the organization well. The technical and managerial knowledge of the supervisor is the second factor. First one was human relation skill. The third factor, the position and the status of the supervisor in the organization. The supervisor's ability of supervising his workmen depends on his position and status in the organization. The workers will respect a supervisor if he has a position or status in the organization. Hence, this factor is important. The fourth one, the supervisor's upward relation and also his relation with the workman. That is the fourth factor. The quality of relationship of a supervisor with his superiors and with subordinate is the fourth factor. The fifth one, a superior must get relief from non-supervisory duties. A supervisor must be free to perform all duties that are related to supervision, or she should be excluded from all other non-supervisory duties, or the number of non-supervisory duties affect the quality of supervision. Now we will see about the different levels and the problems that arises from different levels of supervision. There are three levels of supervision, namely top management, middle level management, and lower level management. Actually speaking, supervisors belong to the third level or lower level of management. Various problems can arise from these three levels include or can be categorized into costly to create different levels of supervision, problems that can arise between communication between different levels, and third, several levels of supervision make planning and control difficult. So cost, problems of communication, difficulty in planning and control as the three group of problems that can arise from different levels of supervision. This is in brief about different aspects of supervision in nursing. Thanks for watching.